gets done. Everyone, most importantly, the American people, will be much better off thanks to our work together. Make America great again. But our friend and colleague, Fox's Connor Hansen, highlights and outlines some of the snags still out there with the big, beautiful bill. Let's listen. After securing a ceasefire in the Middle East, President Trump's focus is shifting back to his domestic. He wants Senate Republicans to work out their disagreements on his big, beautiful bill by the end of this week. The president wrote, quote, "Lock yourself in a room if you must. Don't go home." Failure here is not an option, and this is the fulfillment and implementation, this bill, of the president's agenda. A lot hinges on how fast the Senate can finish its work and how many changes it hands back to the House. House Republicans have been told not to go on vacation for the 4th of July weekend until they are done. If the Senate does its work on the timeline that we expect, we will do our work as well. The original version barely passed in the House. GOP senators are still working out complicated issues like the state and local tax cap.
Oh, shit, it's the wrong fucking video. My bad. I'm tweaking. This already passed. Hold on, let me do the update. This.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew.
Yeah, what the fuck? Hold on. It just passed. I'm trying to find the video. It just passed. All right, here we go.
This was Capitol Hill, where a key senator appears to indicate they're inching closer to a vote. What is that word? I don't even know what that word is, Aisha Hassi. I'm so excited about this vote. Is the word I was looking for. And she's live on Capitol Hill. We are in this. We are leaning on this. And without the tax cut that was put into place by President Trump in his first term, if that's allowed to expire today, if this bill does not pass, that hikes taxes for 68% of working Americans.
Right, and the biggest tax cut, hikes rather, would be for the lower household income. So, and also the pro-growth aspect of this, right? We want to grow this nation. We want to grow the economy. And taxes are a central part of that, particularly for corporations.
The vice president breaking the tie right now, which means they had some no votes from those Republicans. This bill, the big, beautiful bill, has passed because the vice president of the United States, J.D. Vance, has come to the Hill more than once thinking that he would do this. And when he showed up this morning, they were right. He would be needed. He has done it. Let's listen and see if there is any audio that we can take in.
Pursuant to the order, 4 February 29, 1960, the hour of 12 noon having arrived, the Senate having been in continuous session since yesterday, the Senate will suspend for a prayer by the Senate chaplain. Let us pray. Eternal, ever-blessed God.
Wait, they praying?
Help our senators.
They always do that. They always do that in the Congress.
For the glory of your name. Help them to walk with humility.
Oh, well, this is a black pastor. Shout out to the black church.
So that they will strive to be servants of the people. Help them to walk with forgiveness, so that they will forgive as they desire to
Yeah, can one of the mods go in the room over there that last one goosebumps?
be forgiven? Help them to walk with courage, so that nothing will deflect them from the way they ought to take. Help them to walk with endurance, so that nothing may daunt or discourage them until they reach their goal. Lord, help them to walk with loyalty, so that nothing will ever seduce their hearts from their devotion to you. We pray in your loving name. Amen.
I swear to God, I love the black church. Was that James Earl Jones?
Hey, man, there ain't no America without the black church, man. That shit is like, it's like it goes hand in hand, man. All right, my bad. This is
with that, we are watching now. The big beautiful bill has passed on the vote, breaking the tie of the Vice President of the United States. And Charles, you were talking about the tax portion of this. What good does this do outside of saving what the president put into place with tax cuts that were monumental really for so many Americans across the country? What does this allow him to do going forward?
This is the crux of it all, really, to be quite honest. It's the growth effect, the multiplier effect of businesses keeping more of what they earn, being able to invest that into future products and being able to invest that to employees. And that's what the foundation of the economy is. And listen, obviously, it's one thing when you say things on the campaign trail and when you hope for things on the campaign trail. As we can see, this thing is very contentious. Just your conversation with Chip Roy shows that when it gets back to the House, there's going to be some more, fisticuffs or another Donnybrook, so to speak. But, President Trump put out a post yesterday talking about the growth aspect of this, and I think that's what he's focused on more than anything else. Make the pie bigger, make the economic pie huge so that everyone can get a chance at an opportunity. Because it's one thing to save taxes as a lower income home. It's another thing to have have more prosperity, to grow your job, to grow your business, to have a business, to start a business. And I think that's what the president is aiming for.
Look, what you were talking about, and I want to get into it, Kennedy, at the very end of the Faulkner Focus, Representative Chip Roy and I were watching the lead up, the last few seconds of that final vote, and he said that the cuts that were put in place to make this deal, there are Republicans who, and I would assume he includes himself, are not happy about, and he's hoping that some of that, as Charles has just told us, can be, kind of put back in, I guess, by the House. But the cut down on Green New Deal, and they cut some of that out to make a deal today. The giveaways, this is Chip Roy, representative from Texas talking, the giveaways furthering the Medicaid scam of, this idea that they're not just trying to get out fraud, but they want to just give money away for Senator Murkowski of Alaska to vote yes for this. What are your thoughts on it?
So a lot of that was offsets from Obamacare. So that was expanding Medicaid for states like Alaska instead of really reforming the system. And it is, the way they're doing it, it's still a Band-Aid. It's still a stopgap. And I think they really have to focus more of their attention on these meaningful reforms going forward, because that shouldn't be the thing that kills this bill. That shouldn't be the thing that kills tax cuts. But it opens a very interesting fissure within the party, because you have the constitutionalists like Chip Roy and the Freedom Caucus in the House, and then you have the moderates in the Senate, like Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, who's up for re-election. And so they're going to push for the more moderate or liberal aspects of this bill that expand government and expand spending, which is a recipe for disaster when you're trying to cut taxes. If you're going to grow the economy, as Charles says, you also have to cut spending, and that's the issue that people like Rand Paul have with the bill.
And Kennedy, do you think that it really came as close enough as Chip Roy, representative from Texas, was laying out, that if they would promise to give Lisa Murkowski the money that she wanted, I mean, could Democrats have tanked this in any way? I'm baffled, because we're at a tie, so clearly it was close.
They didn't need Democrats to tank this. The Republicans did it all on their own because they thought the more comfortable margin would be in the Senate. Because, mathematically, in terms of the ratio of Republican votes, you have more of them in the Senate, and they lost 3 of them. So it's even tighter in the House. So how do you go back with this to the House and come up with a compromise? Because, these are some pretty big issues. This is still a pretty big gulf that they have to tightrope in order to pass this bill and have it signed.
Well, and the other...
Well, I thought they passed it already.
No, it had so many amendments, Lou, that it had to go back to the House because it wasn't the original bill that the House passed. So the Senate passed it, but now it has to go back to the House before it becomes law. And the House is not, it's got too many tax cuts for Medicaid and Medicare.
How would this affect
It's going to impact a lot at the lower levels. So basically, what
Can you break down the bill first and then break down how it's going to impact the
Yeah, let me see if I can find something, because for stuff like this, I like to have a resource for people to look for themselves. Let me see if I can find a good one.
I don't know if this is news, but Alex Jones just said that
he's pro the big beautiful bill. I don't know if that's worth anything. All right.
That is worth something.
Definitely is.
Do y'all want to hear Alex Jones? Cause I ain't gonna lie, I fuck with him sometimes. He be saying some shit. I be listening to Alex. He's live right now.
Yeah, play it, brother Lou. I listen to him too. Go ahead.
All right, cool.
And this is a hold your nose moment, because if you study the economy, I think I have to say I overall support the bill. And this is a hold your nose moment, because if you study the economy, we have fumes, and we're driving down the road, and we see a mile up ahead a Buc-ee's truck stop, and we're just hoping as the engine starts to rattle that we can get off the exit and pull in before we run out of gas. And this spending down the road very quickly, if it doesn't get fixed, could blow the engine. But right now, if you don't get the tax cuts or class, and if you don't get the funding for the deportations and all the rest of it, the Democrats will have their new voting bloc. So I don't pick an issue of who I want to support, who I like the best. I go off deep research. If we do not get this bill, the economy will crash. The border will not be secured. The illegal aliens will not be deported. The Democrats will have their permanent voting bloc. And it's not going to really matter because the bill's going to get passed. But I still could not support it out of conscience because of the total AI dictatorship provision. And that should be a whole nother discussion of how the hell did that get sponsored bipartisanly and put in there, and how it survived multiple rounds in the House and Senate.
Okay, I found something. I don't know what this is. And do you see how a lot of these Republicans, Lou, they can't even support the bill, but because this is the problem with people like that, in my opinion. He said that all of these catastrophic things would happen, right? Which if they didn't happen during COVID, it's not likely for them to happen any other time. And then he's going to turn around and say, but I can't support it because of XYZ. Like, come on, bro. You can't even take these people seriously. But I put something in the chat if you want to put that at the top. This is actually really concerning. It adds a lot of dollars to the federal deficit, which, remember, Trump ran on cutting spending. That's absolutely how he got Elon Musk for Doge in there, right? Remember, it was under the auspices of we need to cut all this extra spending. We need to cut fraud, right? Doge was actually found did not find any actual fraud. There have been so many cuts to public funding, like Job Corps, USAID, which was primarily for overseas assistance. But what people don't realize is that a lot of these cuts are going to impact your day-to-day. They're going to impact your grandparents. They're going to impact your parents. It's going to impact federal funding for after-school programs, right? It's going to impact funding for local community resources. A lot of these resources have already been cut, by the way. So this would absolutely be catastrophic, in my opinion, for lower and middle income Americans. But again, I put something in the chat if you want to put it in the Jumbotron, and it's actually from the BBC, which I consider to be more bipartisan. It's not CNN, it's not Fox. So it literally just goes over the biggest items that are in. One of the most problematic for me, and I'll land here, is that Lou, it literally gives, let me read this because I couldn't believe this, honestly. There's a provision in the bill that says Meta can get $15 billion to incentivize them to do research in 2022, 2023, and 2024. So it's actually retroactive. That's what the Republicans have put in this bill for the AI research that Alex Jones was probably alluding to. They're literally going to give Meta, which is one of the largest companies in the history of the entire planet, right? They're going to give them a retroactive, billions of dollars credit money for literally doing shit like in the past today, which is completely fucked up. Like, why are we doing that?
I can tell you why.
It says just some key provisions in the bill.
Well, can you put it in the top so they can look at it too?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. says it permanently extends the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, including lower rates, raising standard deduction by $1,000 for single, $1,500 for HOH, 2,000 for married through 2028. So it says creates new deductions for tips, overtime, auto loans, and Social Security income for seniors. It increased SALT cap from 10,000 to 30 to 40K. It adds 5% tax on remittances. Also, this is the border and immigration. It allocates $70 billion for border security. What else? Deportation capacity aims at 1 million removal a year. Okay, so they're going to spend $70 billion on the border. Defense and energy, we're going to spend $150 billion increase for defense, including drones and missiles. It's going to repeal methane tax, which removes green energy credits and streamlines U.S. energy production. So this is the important part, the healthcare. We're going to break everything down, though, in your opinions.
Yeah, and let's read through the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare.
I was going to read it now.
Yeah.
Deep cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, stricter eligibility, state amend obligations, non-citizen exclusions. So 10.9 million Americans could lose coverage. Rural hospitals and cancer patients are threatened as well. It says Senate blocked controversial Medicaid provisions, gender care. Oh shit! So they're blocking gender care from what else? $10 billion a year ban on state level AI regulations, includes the REINS Act to limit federal regulations. Hold on, let me read the REINS Act. I don't know about this. Hold on.
I don't think the House will pass it.
It says the REINS Act is a conservative-backed law that will limit the power to the federal agency by requiring Congress to approve any major new regulations before it can take effect.
Yeah.
It applies to regulations with an economic impact of 100 million or more, given to Congress veto power over big rules issued by agencies like the EPA, FDA, and IRS. It also aims to rein in the administration states and shift power back to the elected lawmakers. Okay, hold on, let me finish going through this.
So that would be problematic, Lou, just like
Wait, let me read through all of it and then
what are you reading? We don't know what you're reading, so people can reference. What are you reading?
I'm reading the details of the Big Beautiful Bill. These are a few sources from my journal. This is from whitehouse.gov. This is from The Guardian. There's a few sources about the bill. But I'm going to post everything in the chat.
Yeah, but the BBC one actually goes into detail. You're just reading like I want people to hear like the numbers too.
Yes, so it says raising debt ceiling 4 to 5 trillion. CBO project 2.4 to 3.9 trillion increase in deficit over 10 years. Yeah, I read what you posted in the chat, and then there's other sources that people.
Well, no, I'm just saying if you put one at the top. Oh my God, this is actually serious for all you little stupids in the chat. I'm not even gonna pay attention to y'all because y'all are gonna be the ones most affected. We can actually read the actual bill if y'all want to go there, but seeing how just random words be fucking y'all up, I don't suggest we do that.
Alright, well, once you read through it, then I don't get it. You posted it.
No, I just wanted you to read a source at the top. I just wanted you to post whatever it is that you're reading at the top so that people could go along with you. I think this is important enough for people to inform themselves. That's all I'm saying.
I think the AI part is valid. I mean, well, obviously $150 billion on defense. That's not surprising. The only part I probably got pushback with is the healthcare, the deep cuts of Medicaid and SNAP. I don't think that should happen. They making They making monster. Yeah, it says 10.9 million Americans lose coverage. What the fuck?
No, but Lou, if you give Congress the power to override federal agencies, right? Like, Congress is severely uninformed. Think Marjorie Taylor Greene making a decision on anything to do with, like, something that has to do with the weather. When this is a woman who actually tweeted that the Democrats were the ones who, quote unquote, changed the weather to cause a major hurricane because they didn't want Republicans voting, right? So this country is now anti-education, similar to Clubhouse, by the way, right? Anti-fact, anti-scientist, right? Ivy League colleges, which is why Trump threatened to take away the accreditation for Columbia University, right? And he's attacking Harvard. So imagine, like I said, if Congress, which Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm going to use her as an example, she literally acknowledged that she didn't even read the bill. And then she was against it because it had Medicaid cuts. But she said she didn't even read it. And think about how many people criticized Jasmine Crockett, right, on the other side. So now we want members of Congress who both sides pretty much confirm that a lot of them are uninformed, uneducated, whatever, performative. But now we're okay with them making major decisions that have to do with our livelihoods, like the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, because all they're going to do is give over to big business, Lou, right? We know this. They're going to sell out American citizens pretty much like they do now in the form of lobbyists, right? So actually, everyone on both sides should be incensed at this because you're basically going to put a price tag on congressional approval. So Exxon wants to move into your small town and pretty much poison the waters. Okay, as long as they, make the right checks to your congressman, they're going to vote for it. So they want to, increase, let's just say, like, insulin to make it $1,000 a pop. Okay, fine. Now they're going to approve that. So this is terrible. Everybody should be pissed off at that one. This is not good.
Do anybody disagree? Do people feel like this is actually a good bill?
There's some things in it that are good with the law enforcement side of, not even law enforcement, but the gun side of, the silencers, the less restriction to city and state rights. I love that part about it. That's a very powerful part because the restrictions across the country for gun rights is absolutely insane. What I do agree with Mickey is it's definitely furthering the piece of completely selling out America to the highest dollar and the highest bidder. That's for sure. So it's a tricky bill, but you should definitely read into it and see how it's going to affect you locally, state.
I just looked it up. Y'all know it's 800 pages, right?
Yeah, I thought it was more than that, 800. Yeah.
Well, read it.
It was 900.
Let's read it. Like, seriously, let's go through it. I mean, we don't have to go through it today. But a lot of this stuff doesn't even go into impact. It's a novel.
It actually is a novel. It's 800 pages.
No, it's not even. Okay, well, I read the last Harry Potter book in 2 days on the weekend. Like, what the fuck?
Did you read all 900 pages?
I read the first one before the revisions with the house. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, did you read this? Because this is...
Of course, here goes G asking you the same question.
No, but you're saying you want us to read it.
Okay, let me do your little dance, sweetie. Do your little dance.
What do you mean? You've been dancing up a storm. Your legs are tired. Sit down. It's okay. They're not going to read all 9 pages on stage. It's impractical.
What do you mean it's impractical? We could literally just set up a room.
Summarize it. Like, I don't get it. Can we just
well, then where is a good summary?
That summarize it, like people do.
Well, read a good summary. But that's what I'm saying. A good summary is still going to be more than y'all are willing to read because you want it in 2 pages and it's literally trillions of dollars. Let me go back home.
Quite lovely what he was reading into the summary that was informative.
You said what?
You were reading something that ultimately summarized it above us.
Literally, but I don't get it. It's y'all act like this shit. Alright, so they're talking about they're focused on AI regulation, healthcare and welfare cuts, defense and energy, border and immigration, and tax cuts deductions. So we can break those 4 main. I think those are the 5 things, 16, and the debt ceiling and deficit, right?
I think the immigrant part will be
These
more.
are, we can break it down based off these 5 main ones, 6 ones. If y'all want to add things based off the 600 pages that y'all read, we can do so. Is that okay?
Yeah, I suggest the ICE part, the immigration part, because that's like, I think it was like 100 billion or something. It's a lot of billions. I think that'll be very fruitful, kind of current, relevant. Like, because if that gets passed through, you're gonna see 10x of getting rid of folks. I think that's a worthwhile conversation. So he's counting on that part to go through, because then he can just fully execute. There's a lot of money going into the immigrant deportation kind of energy. Alcatraz over there in Florida, Alligator, Alcatraz, I think he's calling it, and putting these detentions. So that takes funding.
I just looked it up. It says, so I got the full bill. It's 1,116 pages. Tax policies, social programs, immigration,
Yeah.
border security, defense and energy policy, regulatory reform, which is AI regulation ban, and debt. So basically what I just read.
Yeah, that funding for the deportation, that would get all of America stirred up even more for sure. So that, I think, is a worthwhile thought.
It's actually 2000.
Yeah, there's also something in there that if you, now this has already been in place, but they're starting to enforce it more for immigration. If you are a naturalized citizen, right, then they can basically, the DOJ wants to strip you of your citizenship as punishment, which should, would basically mean a green card holder or someone who is here now legally in this country. So, but I don't, that's cool. Like, that doesn't impact me, but that impacts a lot of you, so.
All right, I'm reading more. All right, so that we're spending agricultural 120 billion, arms defense 150 billion, banking 2 billion, commerce, science, transportation 44 billion, energy and natural resources 27 billion. Environment and public work 3 billion, finance 3.4 trillion dollars.
Do you want me to read the article that I put? Because what does finance mean? That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you've never, all jokes aside, I'm not even trolling right now because I think that this bill is like really catastrophic. It is going to be devastating for a lot of people. It does bring in like the salt tax deductions, but a lot of people aren't homeowners, and that's not going to benefit them because they don't even itemize their taxes. So I'm just concerned about the people that are just about to retire, people that are safely utilizing a lot of these benefits, right? So anywho, I'm happy to do a little speed reading version, but I strongly encourage people to look into this for yourself. And I suggest that you look at the current budget for the United States if you've never done so. Yes, it's long. Yes, it's a lot of words. I know a lot of words. Be fucking y'all up. Wait, let me stop trolling. I'm sorry. I know y'all don't like to read, but
I didn't even read the damn thing.
Sweetheart, I look at that because they've been going. Gee, they've been going back and forth. I read the original one that the House passed. What part of that?
How many pages? Wait. How many pages did you read when the House?
I don't remember how many pages it reads. I look at the government websites periodically. Like I look at the IRS, I look at Social Security. Like Lou, you know this. I reference it every time I speak.
But you can't joke about people being.
What do you mean I can't joke about people being dumb when you're an example? But I read the original when the House passed. Did you read that one?
This one is different, obviously, because they're revisions.
Well, I just said that, sweetheart. But did you read? I suggested reading it, and you said it was too many fucking pages. Are you okay? Is your dick hard and you can't release? Because what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, oh my god. Do I represent like a sorority girl that turned you down or something?
All right, hold on. All right, let's.
Women in sororities aren't 60 years old. What are you talking about?
And I'm 50, you dumb bitch. Your mama's 65. That's why you're so stupid, because she had you so fucking late in life.
It's too early. All right, next person will attack and shoot me up, bro. It's too early to be crashing. Like, what the fuck? How y'all angry this early? Hell, Normal, how you feel about this big, beautiful bill passing the Senate?
I
I can't quite hear you, Lou. What'd you say?
How do you feel about this big
You're talking
beautiful
low.
bill passing the Senate?
How do I feel about the big beautiful bill? I haven't read it, so I don't have an opinion on it.
You don't know anything about it?
I know people in the room, and I know people are afraid of things that they don't really know. There's sort of the fear of the unknown.
Things like what?
Stuff that people have been mentioning here, various facts. So I don't fear the unknown. I just try to engage with the unknown. Then it's no longer unknown. That's how it becomes known.
All right, let's start with let's start with health care and welfare cuts. All right, this is the most controversial. And we can find it. We can. Let me get the details of this. So we can go one by one.
Yo, let's do AI next after that.
Yeah, we'll do AI next. All right, hold on, let me find some sources for this. All right. Let me post the source up top. Hold on. Boy, y'all funny as hell in here. I'm trying to figure out why Elon Musk is crashing, because this is, we definitely got to get, all right, so this is from Congress. I'm going to post it up top. Hold on. Let me post this up top first. The fuck? Y'all hear me? Because my shit keeps saying red bar. I'm doing an early room today because I'm doing live. My nephew's finna make his decision today on what college he's going to for his birthday. It's been a good month. Don't fuck with my vlog. All right, here's the link up top. So it says approximately. God damn. All right, it says. Are all of these bills this because
Yeah, no, the budget bill is probably one of the largest because when you think about that, the U.S. budget is literally trillions and trillions of dollars, and it pretty much goes into funding the federal agencies, the military, so forth and so on. So yeah, they're pretty. It's a lot. It's typically one of the largest.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's a big, beautiful bill. I mean, Donald Trump was right. It's a big bill. Was it just the schools that I did where they actually had us go through the federal budget? Just me? Okay, damn. Fuck. Well, oh shit.
You didn't read it. You didn't read it. You clowned the niggas for not reading.
Wait, but did you read the original one that the House passed, Jai? But, so wait, why do you keep saying that if you didn't read it?
No, but I'm not making fun of people for not reading it.
Hold on, brother. You are arguing about, all right, let's start with it, because this is important. A lot of people get Medicaid cuts and shit like this shit crazy. All right, it says the bill proposed approximately $798 billion in Medicaid cuts over 10 years, with $700 billion from traditional Medicaid and CHIP alone. The CBO estimates the reduction will result in 10 to 11 million fewer insured Americans by 2034. Wait, so what's going to be the? Wait, so if they're going to lose all of their Medicare, what's going to is there something going to be replacement to this, or no?
No prayers. It's going to be prayers replacing it.
Well, I don't get the. Hold on, let me find more about this shit. I don't get this part. 10 million people?
I heard 11.
What?
Yeah.
It says stricter eligibility and work requirements, introducing work or reporting mandates for able-bodied adults, including parents of teens, which have historically led to step enrollment declines. It also adds increased documentation checks and more frequent eligibility reviews with the administration.
Cancel the flight.
Complexities for states. then it talks about in this article about non-citizen exclusion. So it prohibits Medicaid chip access for unauthorized immigrants, stripping coverage from households or individuals lacking lawful status. Do you agree with that part? Yes or no?
They got a lot of sick folks running around.
What does it do with that?
Well, pay attention. It has to do with it because all of these immigrants,
I'm talking about immigrants, bro.
they're not going to be able to access medical attention. You multiply that as big as your brain can multiply it, and it's pretty straightforward. There's millions of them running around here until they get all rounded up. They're not going to be able to get no medical attention.
That's ladies and gentlemen.
Especially the ones that got the green cards, and they're not illegal, like Mickey pointed out earlier. They're just, the paperwork ain't going all the way through, or whatever you want to, they came here, they ain't break no laws yet, quiet as it's kept, but they're in this category of illegal immigrants. I get that, but they're still running around.
Immigrants got to do with black people not getting Medicaid.
Bro, I didn't know we were only talking about black people not getting Medicaid, bro. The big beautiful bill doesn't just exclude and talk only about
We're
black
talking
people.
about the one part of the bill right now.
I know, but is that only black people? Normal, are you a black person all of a sudden? Well, I don't understand what you're saying about the big beautiful bill and black people and Medicaid only.
Oh, you got it, bro, big bro.
No problem. I know you just, I'm coming to. It's early in the morning for you.
Hey, JJ, you want to chime in, bro? You want to chime in, please?
Right. I don't have shit else to say. Like, it is what it is.
Alright, so the non-citizen exclusion, so it prohibits access for unauthorized immigrants, stripping coverage from households and individuals lacking lawful status. The provider tax and state funding limitations. It says caption or eliminates the state provided tax used by states to fund Medicaid, threaten state revenue, and burden safety nets hospitals. Senate blocked caps on provider taxes and restrictions on immigrants' access to gender care, citing third world concerns. What else it says? Hold on. Okay, so it says the states will be required to cover 75% of administration costs with penalties if error rates exceed 6%. Net effect, this will affect significant cuts to SNAP funding, potentially $300 billion. So there's going to be a lot of low-income families and children risking losing health insurance and food assistance. Because in the bill it specifies about able-bodied individuals, so that includes parents.
Yes.
Teens.
So basically, Lou, like now it's more income-based. Medicaid is more income-based. Remember, Medicare is the insurance that you get at age 65 that's subsidized by the federal government. So imagine that you are able-bodied, but you lost your job, right? So you lost your job, so you go on Medicaid, you lose your health insurance. So now that's not going to be available to you, right? You're not going to be able to qualify for benefits. So for people with children for Medicaid, if I'm not mistaken, like I said, I have not looked at the revisions that they want to put in place from the original one. That I think the requirement is 80 hours per month that you're going to have to work.
I found it. It says, the bill includes work requirements for Medicaid recipients targeting able-bodied adults being 19 to 55, parents of children over the age of 6, even up to 17, individuals not currently employed in job training or volunteering. So what the mandate does is just the adults must work at least 80 hours or be in job training program. This is the qualifications. These adults must work at least 80 hours a month or be in a job training program, school or education, community service or caregiving, In some limited cases, they also must be regularly report their hourly activities to the state, often monthly.
Okay, so like when you read the fine print, it doesn't come off as callous as he's just cutting entitlements. It seems like just like
He's making modifications to the rule.
just like what they're doing with the 14th Amendment, they're kind of narrowing the scope so there aren't freeloaders.
So that's absolutely not true, because I don't know if you are a single parent of children from the age of 6 to 17. If you are on federal benefits, it typically means that you are lower income, so you need some assistance. Requiring that, so typically people are on these benefits because they can't work, right? So that's what that means. There are a lot of people that have health issues that are actually not on disability. Because if you've ever actually tried to get on disability, you know that it is very, 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 very difficult to get on disability under a certain age, right? So this is a problem. You already have a large number of people that are homeless, starting from COVID, right? People that have been left out of a growing economy. So the bread lines have increased. You can actually confirm this yourself, depending on your state. Homelessness has increased exponentially, right? It's in like the double digits. So if you're going to require people to get a job, what if they can't find a job? Because mind you, a lot of these people are on benefits because they can't find a job. So now you want them to get a job when literally jobs are being cut across the board?
But
how does that work?
If they're
and who's going to pay for their child care while they're working?
Wait. The only requirement is not just you must work 80 hours per month, or be in a job training program, or be educated, or community service or caregiving in some limited cases. So having a job is not the only qualifications.
Yeah, but we're talking about 80 hours a week. They're not saying make a certain amount.
It's 80 hours a month, not a week.
I mean 80 hours a month. I'm sorry. I misspoke. 80 hours a month.
Which is not that.
80 hours a month is a part-time position, because in one week you work 40 hours.
Yeah.
So that's only 2 weeks of full-time work.
So that's 20 hours a week.
I don't see.
You must prove that you're looking at exactly.
No, I
don't see the bar. But like, why can't I just finish the sentence?
No, because you're speaking misinformed.
Why can't even if you disagree with me, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I understand. So all I'm saying is, I don't think that the requirements are as stringent as people are making it out to seem. We're gonna see how it plays out.
Yeah, they did this before in 2000. It was a case study in 2018, and in Arkansas, it was the first state to implement Medicaid work requirements, where you basically required like monthly online reporting of work hours. So I think 18,000 people ended up losing lost coverage in less than like a year. So they failed to report. And then it was a Harvard study, 2019, that showed that most people losing coverage were already working or had valid exemptions, but got kicked off due to complex. So there's been case studies where this shit didn't go well in the past, even when people was qualified.
That's right, Lou. And I'm just saying, like, telling them to work 20 hours, like, I'll give an example, right? My 20-year-old is, the full-time college student, but he's working during the summer. And Walmart hired him for, part-time work, which is typically under 30 hours, because 30 hours is considered full-time, right? He's working like 50 hours a week. So this is the thing. All of a sudden now we want lower income individuals who work hourly wages. Do we know what federal minimum wage is? Because neither party addressed that, right?
How much money
Didn't you just not want me to interrupt you? So can you give me the same courtesy? Thank you. So this is my point. We want individuals who are already receiving benefits, right, to adhere to things that they have no control over. If you are working a part-time job making an hourly wage, you cannot dictate to your employer, well, I'm only going to work 20 hours. I'm only going to work 20 hours, right? So that's really not how it works. So that's just the kind of foolishness to me. And I love what was that Leanne who put that in the chat. People are not looking at nuance. But again, these are not people in these situations. I actually mentor a lot of lower income individuals. And this is problematic. Lou, we mentioned special needs last night. Think about a parent who is able-bodied, who perhaps has a special needs child. How is that parent going to afford daycare if he or she, right? Because there are also single parents that are men. How is that parent going to afford childcare when they're already on government benefits because they can't find a job? So now we want them to find a job as well as have government benefits. Unemployment doesn't require that you work 80 hours a week. Unemployment benefits are literally for when you lose your job. So why would we put the same requirements on people that are on Medicaid and food stamp? It makes zero sense. Zero sense.
Wait, but him being a student, he would qualify because he's a student already, if I didn't hear what they read correctly. And then, if he has a part-time job, there isn't any stipulation on you need to make this amount of money.
Yeah.
The only stipulation is how many hours you work a month.
Jay, did you hear the part where I broke down, it was case studies that it still didn't work, even when people that was qualified, they were still getting laid off and not getting access to Medicaid and SNAP benefits. Because they tried this, because before you do something from the federal level, you got to try it from the state level. So they tried it in Arkansas, they tried it in 2019, and the shit didn't pan out well.
Exactly, and we're talking about senior citizens, and you're talking...
It says 18,000 people lost coverage in less than a year. Many simply failed to report, not because they weren't working. So, yeah, it was in Arkansas.
A lot of able-bodied people are going to lose their benefits.
What does able-bodied mean if they're a single parent? So y'all are saying that people are fear-mongering.
Single parents work.
But why are y'all falling?
But single parents have jobs.
Wait, let me get this out, Luke. Why are people falling for the narrative that people that are on social services are literally on social services because they want to be poor? Like, are y'all really falling for the bullshit? People that are on social services, Medicaid, do you know how many doctors don't even take Medicaid? Like, it's not fun. Y'all are repeating white supremacists. You are touting white supremacist talking points by thinking that people that are literally on these social services are on them because they want to be. It is not just single parents. Think about 50-year-olds. Think about 60-year-olds. Do you know the number of veterans that are literally receiving food stamps? Like, are y'all serious right now? Why are you only focusing on people with children? Oh my God, this is ignorant.
Yeah, they're not reading. And they have disabilities, and they won't be getting any of that money to take care of themselves.
The ones who are disabled are still getting the benefits.
No, they aren't, Jay. No, they're not, bro. What are you talking about? Not according to this big bill.
Based on the bill,
that's what you're not understanding.
Able-bodied people.
No, sir. Not only. You're misinformed. I can send you the information right now. And then when you talked about the states, it's going to be in the states' hands. There's children, you're not caring about the children, so I'm not going to talk about the children, but the seniors that you may know that are being supported by a lot of family members and whatnot, and they do get access to a lot of money that's not going to be there anymore. A lot of seniors are eating off of government money, whether you understand that or not. And the disabilities, all kinds of different disabilities that are holding people's lives together, when that fades away, bro, and you start watching people to watch their family members and loved ones just leave this planet in some very jacked up situations, because what's supporting them right now is only that in a lot of ways. And that's to the point Mickey was making. That is, you have no idea the trickling effect, and then the immigrants are not going to, and just add all that together for a real perfect kind of storm. Because none of this is happening in a vacuum.
Sweet. I'm working with a 22-year-old girl. She's a 22-year-old girl. She has epilepsy, and she is not on disability because they won't give her disability. She has a 2-year-old daughter. Now, because of her epilepsy, she is not allowed to get a license. She's not going to get a license. She lives in a city that there is no mass transit. Where in the F is she working at? Help me with that. She has a 2-year-old daughter that actually needs the Medicaid. She is going to be one of the ones that fall through the cracks with this statute, and there are a lot of people like her. Now, I'm helping her actually start a business from home, but guess what? She still has, where's she gonna put her, first of all, where's she gonna put her daughter for daycare? This is the height of ridiculousness because there are more people like her that are not old, that are not senior citizens, that are actually doing the best that they possibly can, and it's going to cut into her SNAP benefits. It's going to go, you know what, Chris, go and play in traffic on roller skates because that's a stupid comment.
But the point is, only eat in the summertime because of government money. And
exactly.
Only eat because of government summer programs. Because when they're not going to school, they ain't getting no food. How many are in that boat? That's a whole different category of
and that's the part that frustrates me is that there's no accountability for that part. Now, I'm trying to help her actually make something different, but this is a real life story, and it happens, and she's not a one-off. She's not an anomaly. She's not just one experience. There's a lot of people like that.
Single mother
There's veterans that fall into that point. There's a lot of veterans that fall, because I run 2 veteran homeless facilities. I fund them, and it's part of what we do in my business as philanthropy. And there's so many veterans that are going to fall through the cracks on that. But of course, y'all don't give a damn because, you know, it just doesn't fit into your narratives. But that's real life, and that's sad. That's really effing sad.
GA, please send me her information or let me know. I'll send you something for her, because if I can give grown-ass people in this app $1,000, I can send it to somebody who needs it. And you know what the crazy part is for me, GA? A lot of these people that are talking shit literally grew up in impoverished.
You're actually your actions, based off your actions, you're pro Big Beautiful Bill because you give able-bodied people on the app money. And this is what Trump is trying to not do. He's trying to.
Then I'm anti the pro Big Beautiful Bill, Lou, because I do give able-bodied people money. But the fact that I'm trying to say is that,
I absolutely agree with you.
yeah, Lou, but I didn't grow up impoverished. I didn't grow up poo-pooing programs that literally my fucking mama and my daddy were on and that I grew up on. So when I was a conservative, I was a real conservative. It's 90%, I bet, if we pulled a shit on some of them people, their fucking grandma is getting food stamps right goddamn now. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest about that shit. So you literally have these niggas in the chat. No, they're not exempt. They're able. You don't even get Lou, you don't get Social Security unless you qualify and pay into it for 40 quarters. It is not an automatic. The only thing that is automatic is Medicare, but you still have to pay for Medicare. It is not free. So that's what I'm saying. You could literally have someone who, let's just say, like, you know what, y'all want another example? Let's just say that a grandma and grandpa were married. Grandma did not work, right? Shout out to the men back in the day. Not like y'all crack kids now. Want to do 50-50 on a chicken nugget. Grandma did not work. Grandfather did not work because he's in the deep south in Mississippi. Let's just say he's in Green, whatever you from, Mississippi. He got paid under the table cash all his fucking life. He didn't qualify for Social Security. He died. Grandma is now 63. She don't get his Social Security. She doesn't have any. Now she's fucking considered able-bodied and has to go fucking find a little job in a small-ass town competing with teenagers to work 80 fucking hours a week to qualify for, you know, an $800 a month check. That's what the fuck y'all want people to do?
At McDonald's working.
It's ridiculous. Exactly, sweet. And these are these motherfuckers' grandparents and shit, because y'all not rich. Y'all don't fucking make $100,000 a year. You fucking don't. Y'all are capped. 6 to 8% of Black Americans make that much. Y'all whine about not even being able to pay for a fucking date. So stop the fucking cap. We're talking about y'all's parents and y'all's grandparents while y'all talking shit in the chat. Stop fucking fronting. This is gonna impact y'all motherfuckers, not me.
And just to check y'all people in the chat, just to check y'all that's talking about that she. Hold on, let me check them in the chat.
Hold on. Just to break down the people who's exempt from these requirements, children under 18, elderly individuals 65 plus. So some states may apply exemption starting at 60 or 62 for SNAP, depending on the administrative capacity. pregnant women, disabled individuals, so those receive SSI, SSDI, or what's the other one? The state recognized disabilities status. And then full-time students, so in some cases 18 to 24 years old. And then the people who's a primary caregiver of children under 6, and incapacitated adults, disabled family members, etc., and veterans too, because y'all mentioned veterans. So veterans may be exempt depending on the disability or age, though not fully protected in all provisions. And then also homeless individuals, so sometimes receive temporary waivers but must be declared or tracked. So so the bill allows states to decide who qualifies as exempt for certain categories, which could vary in so I just want to clarify.
Oh, okay, so people over the age of 65 are
Let me
exempt.
just read the other part. So the SNAP requirement applies to able-bodied. That was just the Medicaid side. It was the Medicaid.
Because Lou, it's important that we go over the exemptions again, because all the conversation is you want to take away government help, you're evil, or bootstrapper. It's the bootstrapper versus government needs help argument. But when you look at the exemptions, I think that the exemptions paint a more nuanced picture than just the typical conversation that people have always been having. So like over the age of 65, people are still covered. Like college, people in college. So Mickey brought up the example of her 18-year-old getting a college job. Even if he didn't have the college job, he'd still be covered because he'd be in college. I just don't see any big alarm whistles that he's trying to destroy people who are actually eligible for this. It just seems like they're trying to narrow down the people who actually should be eligible versus the people who shouldn't be. And I think the only example that I've heard, which raises some concerns, are people who have disabilities that aren't recognized as having disabilities.
Where you get your applies to able-bodied adults ages 19 to 64, not pregnant, not disabled, not caring for a dependent child under 6, not elderly, must work at least 20 hours, 20 hours per week, which is 80 hours per month, or be in a training, I said this already, training school or community service, all right? Also, reporting is required monthly or risk losing benefits. So you got to report this monthly. Because at this point, once you get past, people gotta adjust instead of like, oh my God, it's over for us. Why don't people because I understand, I disagree with the bill, but I don't want people to just feel defeated and be like, oh, well, it's over for us. Like, well, we'll get into some training, get into some community service programs, try to get into some online schools or something so you can keep your benefits. Because I disagree with how he's doing it, but I mean, we gotta adapt. And we good as black people, just people in general, we're good at adapting. So,
Hey Lou, it's not only about working. You're talking about the working part. Children, I'm talking about babies. Children, I'm talking about people that 6, 7, 8, 9. You ain't going to get no job. And then I'm talking about seniors.
people that 6 years old don't gotta.
It's not the employment part. You're talking about the employment part. You're talking about that piece.
I'm not talking about the black part.
You just got through reading of a whole bunch about who is not going to be eligible about certain piece what had to do with working and who's eligible on that side. But
No, he read the exemptions.
Hold on, bro. Jay. I just heard you. No, I'm not trying to. Let me finish my point, bro. Why are you so nervous, man?
I'm not nervous.
Well, let me finish my point, bro. Hold on for a minute. Because it is a fact. What you're talking about is exemptions in that one little category. That ain't got nothing to do with the seniors that are 70 years old, 75 years old, or whatever.
Those guys won't be affected. He won't be
Hold on for a minute, man. Slow down, bro.
Bro, sweet, bro. You're just talking. 75-year-olds is not, like, do you got comprehension problems? I literally said that people over 65 will be protected. You just mentioned 70-year-olds will be affected, bro. I don't know if you're drunk or something, bro. Your comprehension is okay.
But Lou, they're also cutting the amount of benefits that are available, so that person is correct.
70-year-olds.
Yeah, but it's going to affect the 70-year-olds because they're cutting the pot of funds. That's why they're literally making cuts to these programs.
That's not
So
true.
it's, yes, it is true. They are making
Do you know
almost
that
$1 trillion cuts. Yes.
Hold on. Let's just walk this down. So, in this, because I know y'all want to do some propaganda or whatever and make people feel like it's over for them and without no solutions, which is weird, and say, oh, well, y'all fucked, but I'm good. All right, well, I'm telling people okay, I disagree with this bill. I'm not okay. But there are people that's exempt from this. Children under 18, or this is exempt from work requirements. Elderly individuals, 65 plus. Hold on real quick. I gotta do something.
But
Lou, I'm just glad that Lou understands what's really going on, man. Because if it wasn't for him bringing clarity and walking this shit down step by step, people who promote propaganda, man, and have all kind of people misled and believing Kamala Harris was the answer.
how is it propaganda when that's literally the bill? They are making the cuts dollar-wise. Like, do y'all not understand?
I broke down different categories. So I broke down the first one. I broke down the work requirement, the exempt from work requirements. The second one was about able-bodied adults with dependents, right? And I brought down how SNAP works requirements apply to able-bodied adults ages 19. So this is a different section. This is not working. It's not working anymore. We're not talking about work. So able-bodied adults ages 19 and 64, people that's not pregnant, it doesn't apply, the work requirement doesn't apply to non-disabled, not caring for a dependent child under 6, not elderly, right? Not elderly, must work at least 80 hours a month, or be in training, school, or community service. All right, then I broke down a Medicaid work requirement applies to adults ages 19 and 55. So 70-year-olds are protected, not pregnant, not disabled, not a full-time student or caregiver, and must work or volunteer at least 80 hours per month or participate in job training or meet alternative state-approved activities. So what able-bodied means in the bill is defined by exclusion, not elderly, not disabled, not pregnant, not primary giver, not exempt by the state for hardships. So if someone is 35 years old, doesn't have a disability, isn't pregnant, isn't caring for a young child, then under this bill, they are considered able-bodied and must meet work requirements to retain SNAP or Medicaid benefits, okay?
Right. Some of us know how the program works now, so
Y'all haven't even read the bill. This is, what are you talking about? Y'all know this is modifications based off the bill.
Do you know that this...
I'm literally reading the bill live.
Lou, do you know that this part of the bill was modified or not?
Yes, it was. That's what we're going over right now.
Yo, no matter what facts that you present right now.
Lou, everything in the bill wasn't modified,
I
sweetie.
didn't say everything. I said in this particular point. Oh my God. I said this portion that I'm reading is the modification.
No. When I asked you how it was before, sweetie, I mean, do you know how the program works today outside of the bill?
Yes, it was a different requirement before, yes.
Right. So that's why some people are articulating a different fact, because we're not comparing it to the bill, which is not law yet. We're comparing it to what is in place now.
You want the crazy thing about what I just read? This doesn't even go into effect until December. This doesn't even go into effect until next year.
It's not been passed into law yet. It doesn't go into effect at any time.
I'm saying even when it goes into law, these changes to Medicare and Medicaid won't even be until December 31st, 2026.
So these are people who are reading and actually understand what's going on instead of just talking. Thank you, brothers, for clarifying all this.
You're thanking people for reading?
I'm thanking them for being comprehensive in what we're talking.
Don't even pay attention. She was clowning
I'm being honest
thing
with
because she didn't know. It's just what
trying to yell over people.
What happened to Norma?
I said you're thanking people for being honest and unbiased and not trying to.
So
yell.
do y'all know anybody who's currently on these benefits? Medicaid, Medicare, SSI, SSDI, disability,
Yeah,
SNAP?
my uncle is
Probably everybody.
my uncle is on one of them, and the reason why he's on them is because he's in med school. So
So he's
as long as he stays in school,
so he's an able-bodied person, and you know that when it filters down to the states, they're going to be able to put their own requirements on it because it's federally funded and state administered. That's not what I asked you.
She's making up all of this shit, all of this stuff. Listen, all of this stuff is just being made up.
Y'all crashing. We giving out information. Y'all said break down the bill. Now we're breaking down the bill. Y'all arguing. Oh, well, it didn't even pass that. So why are we even discussing like what's going on? Y'all just did the fear mongering that this is gonna hurt everybody, and then we're just breaking down the details on how people can adjust. And then now y'all saying the bill didn't even pass. Why are we discussing it?
I mean, didn't you say that they did this in the past and that was harmful?
Let me break down what happened before the OBB bill. All right, so the able-bodied adults without dependents was ages 18 to 39, right? And they were required to work, volunteer, or train for 80 hours per month. So the 80 hours per month didn't change. They changed the age from 18 to 49 versus after the OBB bill, which is 18 to 64. Okay, so they added 15 years.
Work, train, or volunteer.
Let me finish, bro. Before OBB, time limited, it was 3 months eligibility within 36 months unless complaints. So the waiver allowed for high unemployed areas, 12 states fully waived. This is from urban.org. I'm reading this, and this is from bipartisanpolicy.org. So it says parents and adults over 49 were exempt. States had flexibility to manage waivers and reporting. After the OBB bill, the age. So I'm reading the current OBB bill. So this is I just read before. I'm about to read the requirements after. All right. So the age changed from 18 to 49 to 18 to 64. They added parents of school-age children. So it's 7 years plus. The waiver limited tightened this. So hold on. Okay, so the reporting required monthly. So before it was every 3 months that you had to. Make sure it's yeah. So before the OBB bill, it was every 3 months that you had to check in. After it's you have to report. The reporting required monthly, so every month you gotta check in and increase barriers. And let's see, it says for. All right, so this is the Medicaid part. So before the Medicaid, so this is the Medicaid work requirements. So before OBB, there was no federal Medicaid work requirement at all. All right. It had 13 states obtain waivers under Section 1115. Only Arkansas, I brought this up earlier, Arkansas and Georgia implemented them, where he lost 18,000. So that was problematic. After the OBB bill, this federal mandate that all Medicaid expansion enrollments ages 19 to 55 years old must work and engage in community service education for 80 hours per month or be exempt by defined criteria. All right, so before there was no federal Medicaid work requirement, which is, I actually agree with that, but now that there is federal mandate work requirement, and you gotta be 18 to 55, you must work in the community service education for 80 plus hours a month. Also, this is after OBB. The state must verify compliance at application and renewal starting by December 31st, 2026. So this is going to be, so the state must act earlier with the guidance by the end of 2025. Okay, what else? Anybody got some more questions? Or are we gonna just fear mongering everybody? Oh, y'all niggas poor. Y'all niggas.
Go over the tax cuts for the wealthy, or y'all only care about people
people that are
Stick to the SNAP.
Well, I actually,
Can we finish the SNAP first, and the SNAP and the Medicaid? Did anybody got any questions or clarifications so we can?
and I want to add one thing on. They also added a home equity cap, so any applicant with a home equity of over $1 million will be disqualified. So there are also people with a lot of money who are abusing the system to get some of these benefits.
Yeah, I don't agree with the bill, but I mean, let's just state what it is so we can know what the fuck going on. Because I think the bill will get passed, me personally. I hope it don't though, but it is what it is.
I agree with you, Lou. I think it's gonna get passed too.
If I thought that my intellect in the room wouldn't get shut down, I would say something, but
Isn't this why he was elected, to pass this kind of a bill? I think that's his mandate, no?
hell no. Nobody knew this was gonna happen.
What do you mean, hell no? This is exactly
It's
what
what I
he ran
said. What part of hell no don't you
It's
understand? You asked the
exactly
question.
what he ran on.
That he
No,
was,
it's not the word.
nobody thought he was gonna do that shit. Nobody knew. He didn't know what Project 2025 was. Remember that? He had no idea. What is Project 2020? I don't know what that is. Yeah, right. You believe that too?
They didn't elect him to testify.
They elected him to not do what he's doing on the Democrat side and all of that. The way he's doing it is the thing that history will speak of. How he's doing everything he's doing and is on his real agenda. And I understand you might be in that category that benefit off of his moves. I get that, Norm.
Pretty vague.
But the masses of the people.
Pretty vague.
Yeah, there you go. Sell that. Sell.
I don't have to sell anything. You didn't read the bill.
Right. You don't know what I read, bro. You got this. You got your people watching. You got your people watching me too. You got your agents on me too. You know what I read. You don't know what the hell I read, bro.
Read the bill.
You know what? You don't know what I read, and that doesn't matter.
I do know what you said.
It doesn't matter. All that little side tactic, that little tricks that you learn in school, I try to derail the conversation. That don't work over here, bro. That don't work over here. That don't work over here, bro. Real people, nobody, the masses didn't mandate this. The masses didn't. The masses. Listen
He
closely.
didn't win the popular vote, so are you saying he didn't win the popular vote?
No, nobody's saying that stupid stuff. Listen closely. I know that the comprehension is a hard thing to have. I get it.
I think
I just want you to understand. No. So no, the masses did not vote for this. No, there was no mandate given to go ahead and
He didn't win the popular vote in the electoral college or the election.
ain't nobody talking about a big beautiful bill.
Trump never mentioned the beautiful bill before the election. He mentioned this after. He never.
No, the things inside the big beautiful bill.
You mean the Project 2025 that he didn't know nothing about?
Like
That's
tax cuts, Americans voted for tax cuts. When it comes to tariffs, Trump has been talking about tariffs for like the past 10 years.
Are you on his staff now, bro?
I'm surprised about that. Wait, give me a second, because you're talking about what people are surprised about and what people